Hey guys, welcome back. Instead of doing a TBR basket for the next reading challenge video, I am severely behind on my Goodreads goal. I have now read 39 books. Oh, just kidding. 40 books. I just finished a book literally right before I started filming. So I've finished 40 books out of the 200 books, which makes me 11 books behind schedule. So I thought before it gets too out of control, we're gonna do under 200 page reading challenge, and I'm gonna try to play catch up and read as many short books as I can to get back on track. Anyways, we'll catch up soon. Bye. Hey guys, it is Saturday afternoon. Actually, it's getting into late Saturday afternoon. It's about 5 o'clock here now, and we've been kind of at it this morning. This morning I read some more in Throne of Glass. I'm getting very close to finishing. I have under 100 pages to go. I'm so excited. So for the purposes of this video, technically, even just to finish this book, there's under 200 pages. There's under 100 pages. So this counts. That brings me down to 10 books to play catch up on. I also decided to start Of Mice and Men. Not very far into this, only on page 12, but already this book is kind of hitting differently. I am definitely remembering some of the things happening in this book that I had forgotten. And then there's other parts of this that there's other reasons why I remember not liking this book other than just the mouse. And the mouse incident is not isolated to one event. This was an ongoing thing throughout the book. But now in kind of refreshing on the context of why the mice, it actually just breaks my heart. So we're following Lenny and George. Lenny is a very large man, and I think the term that they would have used in this book is that at the time of this book is he's simple. He definitely probably has something I don't know if he would be autistic, but either way he is different. And then we have George, who is a smaller man. They are traveling together, and George has taken it upon himself to look out for Lenny because guys like Lenny have nobody to look out for them. So you do kind of have to love George for doing it, and I understand it's very difficult task what he's doing. Sometimes the way he talks to him and the way he gets frustrated with Lenny is really hard to read through, but I totally get it and totally understand, but it's we wouldn't just say those things out loud to the same person. But then again, is Lenny going to remember? Probably not. Anyways, so far so good. So there's that one. I couldn't help myself. I checked out some stuff from the library. I've got Fever Dream. I don't know, this popped up on a list. A young woman named Amanda lies dying in a rural hospital clinic. A boy named David sits beside her. She's not his mother. He's not her child. Together they tell a haunting story of broken souls, toxins, looming environmental and spiritual catastrophes, and the ties that bind a parent to a child. Fever Dream is a nightmare come to life, a ghost story for the real world, a love story, and a cautionary tale. And I think pretty much for the rest of the night, that's all I'm going to be focusing on, which is fan-freaking-tastic. The only problem is making sure that I don't get distracted with my phone. I have noticed that the last week I've been getting very distracted with my phone while I have the time to read. It is Sunday and I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. I do not look my best right now because I just got out of the shower. Today is our reset day for the week, so I have to make lunches, and we had a lot of yard work to do, and one of those my older son actually mows the front yard and edges and does all that. The backyard was looking pretty rough, pretty neglected. We still had piles of leaves that we just have not yet gotten around to bagging up and put. And then today we were working on doing another portion, and then I was like, you know what? I am just tired of this hanging over my head, and I just finished it today, but I'm so sore and so tired now. Anyways, I've been trying to read. It was really difficult to kind of have an audiobook. All Systems Read by Martha Wells. I was trying to listen to that audiobook as we were working on things, but I swear to goodness. Every single time. Got about halfway through. I realized I didn't remember much of it because I had been interrupted so much. So then I started it all over again. Well, one of my kids needs micromanaging. Having to stop just constantly was not working for me, so I wasn't able to listen to that. And then I went ahead and switched over to a completely new book because even when I got the opportunity to kind of just try to absorb the story, I found it kind of confusing. I just wasn't enjoying it very much. So I switched over to a completely different book that I have checked out called The Woman in Uruguay. I don't know how I'm liking this book. I'm halfway through. The audiobook is 4 hours, so I should be able to finish it in like 2 hours. But I don't think I'm liking it very much. I'm liking it to like a point, but it's all about this. It's told from this man's perspective who's in this marriage that becomes a loveless marriage, and he starts wondering if his wife is cheating on him, and with that assumption he decides to pursue other women himself, or another woman himself. But it's also political in the way of there's a wasp on my window and it better be outside. Okay, so this guy and his wife, their relationship started to dwindle because it seems like they just kind of grew apart. They have a child together. They're working really hard, so trying to find time, like intimate time, is difficult. And she started like working late, and there was other signs that like she was probably having an affair. It seemed to me like he was just questioning, well, gee, I wonder who it is. And so it kind of makes me think that like maybe he doesn't really have love for his wife anymore. And then he met some woman in Uruguay. He travels to Uruguay frequently because of the exchange rate. The value of pesos is very low, so he figured out a way that you could take pesos and exchange it, and through the exchange rate it's valued at more. So he found a way to make more money, I guess. According to this book, it works. I guess I just have a hard time with kind of sympathizing with this man. I don't really care for people who cheat on their spouses, but I feel like if you feel like cheating on your spouse, or if you feel like your spouse is cheating on you, talk about it, or decide that maybe you're not good together and then you could separate instead of just like the betrayal, because I feel like betrayal is not called for in any circumstance. So man up and have a talk with your spouse. That's all I'm saying. Hey guys, really quick update before bed. I did end up finishing 2 books. It's almost 8 o'clock. I did go ahead and finish The Woman of Uruguay. I ended up really liking it. I could not believe the ending on that one. I ended up giving it like 3.5 stars. Overall, I didn't love it, but it was well written. It had an interesting concept. I think what kind of pushed it into that edge was what happened at the end. It does leave me with this like conflicted feeling. Like I kind of feel bad for the guy involved, but then also I don't. His behavior is not the behavior of a person that I feel like most people are going to like. Even if you can understand or justify his actions, and just he must just not even like his wife at all. That's what I feel like. And even when he talks about his son, he only states once how much he loves him, but everything else is like he's really just more of a burden to him. I know that it's all very realistic though in a way, and so I have to give it credit for that, and it does make me kind of want to talk about it, which also gives credit for that, like good or bad. If it's a book that I have feelings about, it gets credit for instilling those emotions. And there's other books like the next one we're going to talk about that left no impressions at all, and that would be All Systems Red. I could not connect to this book at all. I started it over. Even sitting here giving it my 100% attention, literally my brain would black it out, would go to sleep. I cannot absorb this book at all. as much as I try. So I was that bored, and it's really sad because it seems like something that I would really, really like. It seems so interesting on paper. Like it just lost me. Like especially when we get into like some of the action scenes. And I don't know if it was because it was like highly technical science fiction writing with, I just, you know what? I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit feeling bad that I don't like this book. It's just not for me. I did have to go back on Goodreads and kind of look at some other reviewers to see why other people didn't like it. I love reading reviews of people who obviously didn't have a good reaction to it because it helps me articulate what exactly it was that didn't work for me. First and foremost thing is I felt that it was confusing. Something was not clear to me just from the get-go of our main character. And I'm not saying that I like a story where they info dump everything, where you do need to like read on to kind of discover what it is about our character. Maybe wasn't written that clear for me anyways. And now it's about time for me to get my son in bed. I'm putting him to bed about an hour earlier than usual because we do have a week of school coming up. He's still got a cough. I'm going to get him some medicine and try to get him in bed early so he gets a good night's sleep. Hey guys, welcome back. It is Monday. I have to leave in about 30 minutes to go to Taekwondo. Did everyone get to see the solar eclipse? My kids actually got to see it at school, and they said that they saw it for just a few minutes. Not even a few minutes, like a second. Right at the peak of it or whatever, before the clouds covered it. It's been very rainy and overcast and cloudy all day, so there wasn't a lot. I could not find any glasses for myself, so I did not get to go peek outside. Alright, so I'd like to update the books that I've read today. I think last night and today, I think I updated last night, but honestly, I can't keep things straight sometimes. I get really tired, so we'll find out in editing when we get to the editing. Okay, so I'm at 45 books out of 200 books. 23% of the way completed through the challenge. And according to Goodreads, I'm 8 books behind schedule. When we started this challenge, I was 11 books behind schedule. Not too bad. I am making progress. Today, I listened to Recitative by Toni Morrison. This was one very short books that she ever wrote. Apparently, this was completely experimental, and it's quite interesting. So Zadie Smith actually has done the introduction to this, and she defines recitative. Recitative, noun, musical declamation of the kind usual in the narrative and dialogue parts of opera and oratorio. I can't really tell you. Hopefully that means more to you than it means to me. I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. And then she puts an asterisk and a little annotation here. I have no idea if Morrison ever read the philosopher John Rawls, but the overlap between the premise of recitative and the structure of Rawls' Veil of Ignorance is intriguing. So, anyways, this was incredibly short, and it follows 2 girls. They meet in an orphanage. One of them is black, one of them is white, but the whole experiment was to see, she's trying to break down what it means to be black, what it means to be white, based on like what you eat, what you talk like or dress or whatever, like all these different things that kind of separate black and white people. That was what she was trying to eliminate and put these 2 people on the same playing field. There would be other things in their lives as you go through their story that maybe separate them or bring them together. Zadie Smith says that while you're reading it, you might be inclined to want to know or want to guess at who was the black girl and who was the white girl. I don't know. I just thought it was pretty interesting. So, okay. Every Heart a Doorway. I have started this. I've just barely started it. So, I actually tried reading this a long time ago, but I just had a hard time getting into it, or I don't recall it very clearly. So this is my second attempt. I'm trying to all of these books are incredibly short. I knew they were short, but I didn't know they were that short. This is 175 pages, so this whole series would work amazing for this challenge. Then I have Fever Dream. I did start this. I made it like 57 pages through this book. But this author, Samantha Schweblin, I want to say that's her name. I actually just finished another book by her. This is my Notion page where I track all the books that I've read, and I don't actually put a lot of notes within this database. I kind of end up saving that for like my wrap up, which is on a different database of projects. I should probably fix that. I'm just going to read exactly what I wrote. What the fuck is this? This book visits different houses, explores the peace, security, and safety that a house as a symbol provides, but smashes that ideal and expectation with disturbing stories. As a reader who loves that in a book, the house, and interesting homes, this was fascinating. It was a fascinating concept. But I didn't quite enjoy this or find it as disturbing as I had expected. Some stories were much more shock factor and absolutely ridiculous. The woman who's crazed to work her way into this rich family's home, I actually found that one quite interesting. The craziness of it, the thoughts that it stirs when you see like this massive mansion. We actually have this house. We have these greenways in my neighborhood, and if whenever we walk one way on the greenway and we cross the street, there's this massive, beautiful white house, and they have like a small mini house in the back. You can't really see. They have horses. It's just one of the most beautiful houses. Whenever I see these houses, I think I would do anything to just like tour it. Like, do you think, and this is a joke, but I'm like, do you think if I knocked on the door and said, I think your house is beautiful, can I see inside? Like, would they be weirded out? Probably. So I would never actually do that. But other ways, as I was thinking, is like, if they ever are trying to sell it, like maybe I would schedule a showing just so that I could take a walk through and see the inside of the house. Because I just want to see it. I wouldn't ever want to own a house that large because keeping a house is a lot of work, but still, I could fantasize a little bit. If I had the means to have people to clean it for me and do all the, maintenance, if I could just hire people to do all that, then sure, why not? But I don't, so no. Anyways, I am fascinated with these houses. This woman gets her way into this house and she's like obsessed over these weird sugar dishes, and she like makes herself at home. Like, she's absolutely lost her damn mind, okay? I thought that was kind of interesting, kind of in the vein of a couple of my favorite books, but it didn't stay there. The other stories I felt were boring and confusing or just weird. And when I say confusing, there was one story that I was trying to follow along. I felt it was pretty interesting, but I couldn't tell who was talking to who, because there was this one woman named Lola, and then there were times when I thought that she was the narrator, but then it would state things in a way that I was thinking, no, she's talking to a girl named Lola. And I couldn't figure it out, and I was getting more frustrated with it than anything. But then at the very end, I was just like, this is the stupidest book after all this time. Then at the very end, we're in this story of this little girl, and she's talking about how her dad takes off her underpants and is driving down the street waving her underpants out of the window of their car on the way to the hospital. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Then they get there and she's like, can I even go in? I don't have any underpants on. And then they get inside, and I guess there's a stranger who finds her some black underpants that don't have, she said something like, don't have an alarm on them or something. I don't even fucking know. I don't even know, man. And then she proceeds to leave with this person. The dad or the mom chases them out, finds her, and she's like super proud. She's like, she keeps lifting up her skirt and showing off her underpants. And this whole thing, if you took a shot every time she said underpants, you'd be 3 sheets to the wind, okay? This was the stupidest story ever. It makes no sense. It is so fucking weird. I don't like it. And then I started thinking about the purpose of the whole book. And the whole book is to talk about these disturbing things within this household. And I'm like, I really think that we also completely lost the idea of like things in the house, because this was not like in a house setting. I'm really not getting that vibe if that was intended to be the purpose. Needless to say, this was not good. After that, I also started The Lost Daughter. I literally only read a couple of pages. Okay, I read like 10 pages of this just this morning while I just had a couple of seconds, just to kind of get a feel for it. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I have to leave right now. I could sit here and like dig into this book. I want to read this book. So very excited for that one. And finally, Of Mice and Men. I'm nearly almost done with this. There are 30 pages left. I'm on page 72 and there's like 104 pages. No, 110 pages, whatever. 107 pages. So I'm very close to being done with this. This one is so far the best of all of these books. This one is so good. I'm so happy I read this and gave it another chance. And I can't wait till my husband gets home so that we can talk about it. And that's going to be really fun. So tomorrow, I meant to edit videos today, but that did not happen at all. I think when I get home tonight, I definitely need to decompress and probably read. I want to finish Of Mice and Men. I'll probably finish Of Mice and Men tonight. Tomorrow, my son has e-learning day tomorrow, so he's going to be home. And we're not going to be out all day, but we did plan to go to the gym together there's a 45-minute class if he wants to do that tomorrow morning. And then I was going to take him out to lunch. And he says he's not going to have like any work to do. The teachers aren't assigning any work. He'll probably also just want to have a free day. But I do plan for a lot of the day to be hanging out with him because we don't get a whole lot of time to spend. Little brother tends to take up a lot of mom time in these scenarios. So I like to make the most of these days where it's just the two of us. So I want to be free to just do things like that. But if I get some downtime, I need to edit some videos. And then I would really like to continue reading. But sometimes I get into editing videos and like I lose it and the whole day gets away from me. So yeah. Anyways, I'll catch up with you later when I have more to update on. First of all, I have a very squeaky chair. It's like if I breathe, the chair squeaks. It's so annoying. Where are we? I haven't filmed for like 2 weeks. I'm kind of lost and I'm playing a little bit of catch up. Seems like I'm playing a bit of catch up in all areas of my life. And my kids will be home in about an hour, so I would like to get some reading in before they get home, but it's been kind of hectic today. Anyways, let's talk about where I'm at. I would finish some books and then I would go back and look at my Goodreads and see if I've caught up at all. And I have read, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This month I have read 14. Is that 14? This month I've read 13 books so far and we still have a week and a half left of the month. 2 weeks ago, and I said I was like 8 books behind, and I have read quite a few since then. And I go to look at where it says if I'm on track or not again, and I'm already back at 9 books behind schedule. Like 200 books is a lot of books. What am I even thinking? Fortunately, though, I have heard that my sister is quite a bit further behind me. She hasn't quite reached 40 books yet. So it looks like at least right now I'm in the lead. In order to figure out what all these books I have read are, probably gonna have to watch the wrap up because, as I said, I am a little bit lost in where I was at in this vlog. I do remember I talked about The Woman from Uruguay. I think I talked about Recitative, Of Mice and Men, and I've also read If You're Not Yet Like Me, Foster. I finished Divine Rivals. That's not like a short book by any stretch of the term. That's quite a bit longer, like fantasy book. But my hold at the library had come through and I listened to it on audiobook. I also read The Lost Daughter by Elena Ferrante. At least one of her other books is very popular among YouTubers that I watch. So I really wanted to read from Elena Ferrante and I saw that she had this really short book, so I read it. I also listened to City of Ghosts, and then I also read Stone Words, which this was such a treat to myself. This book was a favorite of mine when I was younger, and when I was in like third-ish grade, reading was very, very challenging for me. And I remember finding this book at the library because we would have these little trips to the library once a week to find a book. And I always hated these trips. I never knew what to pick out, but I saw this book. I ate it up. And ever since then, it has stuck with me. So I wanted to reread it. I think I have another video around that book. Like I said, I went back to look at how many books behind schedule I am, and I'm back at 9 books behind schedule. So today, after the gym, I went to the library and I picked out a ton of graphic novels. We'll start looking through them. All right, so first I picked up some manga. I don't really know anything about them, but they look so cute. So the first one is The Ancient Magnus Bride, Sorcerer's Secretaries. And then this one is a manga from a TV series that my friend keeps telling me to watch the show, but I never get around to it. So that is Spy Family. Okay, then we have the first 2 Monstrous, 1 and 2. 1 is quite a bit thicker than number 2 is. Snow Glass Apples by Neil Gaiman. Oh my gosh, that looks so cute. Okay, then we have The October Faction. This one looks so creepy. It's like super dark all the way through, but really cool illustrations. And also, I actually have a prompt to read a book that has a month in the year in the title, so that would work for that. Then we have When I Arrived at the Castle by Emily Carroll. I was almost thinking this is when I have arrived. What is it? There's a book with this very similar title to this. I've arrived in the castle or something like that. But this one's not like that. This one says Alice in Wonderland meets Dracula. Bloody, sensational, bewitching. Then we also have Persepolis 2. I read the first one so long ago, like so many years ago, and it was so good. I could not believe how much I got out of that story, history, and stuff through a graphic novel. I look forward to reading the second one. Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepeti. Halloween 1963, they call him the October Boy. This one is not a graphic novel, but it's quite short. Also, the text is quite large. This one's been kind of on my radar. I saw it when I was looking at books to read that were like more in the horror genre. So this just looks cool. Look at that pumpkin. That one's not a graphic novel, but I think it will read fairly quickly. This one was kind of a hard decision to pick up, but I just have so many books to read, but I want to read the full version of this book. But I was kind of intrigued that there was actually a graphic novel, and that is Graceling, the graphic novel by Kristen Cashore. I have the book over here on my shelf. Anyways, the next one I picked up is Apocalypse Taco. I have no idea. It sounds so goofy. Creatures of the Night by Neil Gaiman. And like that cover. This one 100%, like I saw the artwork and I was like, I don't care if I've reread this a million times. Like I want to look at the artwork. And that is this Frankenstein. And like, look at that. That just is so cool. See the artwork in there? That is amazing. Very last one, because this seems to be a theme this month, is The Island of Dr. Moreau, but the graphic novel. I will catch up later when I have read some things. Hi guys, welcome back. It is Sunday evening. It's about 9 o'clock. It is my bedtime. I had a really busy day today. I have a busy day tomorrow. I'm really behind on YouTube stuff, I feel like. But I have played catch up on projects that I had around the house that I've been procrastinating on, including reupholstering my bar stools, reupholstering my a little blanket, like a bench. It's like a chest or whatever. It's like a bench. And you open it and you can put like blankets and stuff in there. I needed to reupholster that because it was ugly. I started the project of redoing my patio furniture. So that feels really good, really accomplished. While I was doing all those things today, I was listening to a book called Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison. Now, it's not necessarily like a short book, but it was really good. It kept my attention. I really enjoyed it. Beyond that, I finished reading Moonstone by Wilkie Collins Now, Moonstone is over 500-page book, but I found I didn't know that. I found a smaller, abridged version, very much small. It was 95 pages. I enjoyed the little version that I had, but there was even still a lot of just going back and forth of he said, she said. But I did really enjoy the way it was written because, now if you don't know, Moonstone is, I guess it's considered one of the first whodunit mysteries, and I did really enjoy it. Basically, it's about this moonstone that was taken from the Indians. I'm getting all these updates on my phone. Sorry, it's right next to the computer. It had been taken, and now anyone who touches this moonstone that isn't the rightful owner will suffer a curse. It's cursed. Someone dies, and then we have the issue of this missing moonstone diamond gem thing. We're trying to figure out who did it. We have the story told through all the different characters' own testimony, and that's how it's written in this very tiny condensed 95-page version of a 500-page book. So it really cuts out a lot of stuff. It just gets down to the mystery, which I appreciate. I cannot imagine this book being over 500 pages though. There was, even in this small version, I felt a little bit bored. And I feel really bad saying that, but if they took a 500-page book and condensed it down to 95 pages and it's still not capturing my attention, then anyways, you get where I'm going with this. Then I also finished The Assassin and the Healer, which is the second novella in the Assassin's Blade book. And then I think I already told you that I finished Persepolis Volume 2. So that's great. That puts me 3 books over the bar. Now I have to keep up reading at least a half a book per day, or I'm going to get behind again. This is actually really, really challenging. I don't know how some people just on a regular basis just read that much. Anyways, I did start Remarkably Bright Creatures. This is a book that has been chosen for one of the months for my library reading. In addition to the library's reading challenge, they also have a monthly book pick, so you can just read the 12 books every month with them. I don't know which month this was chosen for. This month's book is a different book. And I checked out the audiobook of it, but the audiobook's really awkward. And I'm still interested in the book. I just don't want to listen to the audiobook. And I'm not in the mood for that book because it's a fantasy or something. Anyways, so far this is adorable. I'm only 23% of the way through it. So far, I guess there's human creatures. There's human creatures. There's humans, and then there is this octopus who is a narrator in the story. He's his own character, and I think that is the highlight of this book. It's so cute. I don't even care about the humans. I care about the octopus. But apparently this octopus and this woman who has had a rough go of it and has lost her son, lost her husband, she ends up making friends with the octopus. And they have a bond, so I'm really excited about that. What else is going on? I still have the giant collection graphic novels. I will try to read through those. Also, Assassin's Blade, I would love to get through this, but I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I'm trudging through it a little bit. The next story in this book is about 100 pages, and I think I have a better grasp on what I should expect from these stories. They're just gonna be little snippets of her life before she went to Endover, and I think that the next 2 stories we're gonna get a lot more from the stories. And at some point, I do know a big spoiler in it regarding one of the characters who we have heard a lot about already in the first 2 books. According to those spoilers, it's supposed to be devastating. I just don't feel I don't know how I'm gonna get from my emotions right now to the emotions about this character in these 3 short novellas, but I hope that I learn to love him as much as other readers. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and close out this vlog. I hope that you enjoyed it. Also, it's time to get back into doing the TBR basket picks. So now that I'm caught up, I can confidently go into a TBR basket pick, and I think that I will select that book tomorrow. Also, I need to do like a check-in on where I'm at with those because I've read a ton of books and I need to kind of slot them in. I'm trying to decide if I'm just going to pick from the basket or completely scrap the basket and redo the prompts for prompts that I have not selected yet. We'll figure that out later. For now, good night and we'll see you soon. Bye.